Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my special guest, Franco Burrows. How you doing, brother?
You're going to say sexy special guest then or something?
The sexiest man in Wales.
Thank you, Doug. It means a lot. Thank you.
You got it, buddy. We always have a great conversation and great time, and the men always enjoy your insights, Franco. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we said we were going to talk about initiating. There's been a lot of conversations in the group recently and in the community about whether to initiate or not. And we've had guys who've tried 30-day sex fasts. I think that's the longest. So I thought we could talk about how to initiate without putting everything on the line. Without it being this big thing of like, oh, she rejected me, because there are a lot of things you can do to get her in the mood, to get yourself in the mood, to create that chemistry, which is what we all want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you talk about the groups, for those that are newer to the podcast, we have two communities. One is directly for alumni and current people involved in the movement. And of course, we have a free Facebook group. So if you're not involved in that, get over there as soon as possible. The coaches are in there, men like Franco are just dropping knowledge bombs left, right, and center, as well as some other groups that we have. So Franco, let's kick it off. So I'm a married man, right? And it just lost the spark, and I want to have more sex with my wife. What do I do?
Yeah, well, like I say, a lot of guys, what they start off with is they initiate sex, then they get knocked back. So either they keep trying and keep feeling like shit, or they stop trying, they give up.
Yep.
We get a lot of comments from guys whose wives, when they actually get down and have the conversation, she's like, well, you don't initiate, you don't try it on, So I think it's a big thing with men. I know I've had a part, not so much with, it probably was around sex as well, but in other areas where we go into our shell, it's like, this isn't working out, so I'm going to pull back,
Yep.
So rather than pulling back, I think there's two types of initiation, I would say. And the best way I know to do it is to, I always say, like, women just want to feel like it just happened. So, there's two ways of doing that: verbally and physically.
Yep. Which
one do you want to talk about first?
Well, of course, as all the guys want to talk about first, let's talk about the physical one.
Okay. So the physical, the best way I know to initiate, I would say, I would call it initiating without initiating,
Okay.
So to touch her in ways and places that are sensual and, intimate places, but aren't sexual.
Such as the small of the back.
Small of the back. Yeah. What else would you say?
The neck, ears are a good trigger point in my experience. Obviously the thigh, the leg.
Yes.
Is also a key one. And you can obviously...
You haven't mentioned my favorite.
Your favorite.
Hips. The hips.
Yes. Because the hips don't lie, my friend.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, you can touch a woman in a way which makes her feel connected, makes her feel cared for. But at the same time, because they are very sensual places, then she can also become aroused. And also, if she feels like you're not trying it on, this isn't some move you're making. Like for me, all of those places, I love to touch a woman anyway.
Yep.
So I think that's a big takeaway for the guys is really getting to enjoying being sensual with her for the sake of it. Like I genuinely love touching a woman in all of those places.
Well, I do too.
Yeah.
I think one of the keys here for guys that are going, okay, where are these places? Guys are taking notes right now. Franco said hips. Doug said, the thigh. These are all places, guys, that you wouldn't touch a family relative, right? You wouldn't touch your sister in these places, or a coworker that you didn't want to get a sexual harassment case against you, or the feeling of awkwardness. These are the places we're talking about, and that's why there's a level of sensuality here and a level of ownership, right? You can only touch somebody that you feel, lack of a better term, ownership to. Not to sound misogynistic, but that allows your woman to really feel like she's your woman, because you wouldn't touch another woman in this way, theoretically.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point, actually. It's a really good point.
So Franco, okay. So I know some of these guys are thinking, okay, so, they're going into the mechanic mode. Okay, I got to touch her on the thigh, but it's really more than just a touch, right? There's intention behind the touch that needs to be there. And you said something else. We'll touch that in a second. But you said something else that I think is critically important. It's you're initiating this touch, but you're not hoping or expecting it to go any further. In fact, it's just the opposite. You're almost pulling away. It's like a cat. When you give a cat a string and you kind of pull it away, the cat wants it more, right? Where if you just threw the string out there and left it, the cat's not going to play with it.
Yeah, I would say the mindset we're going for here is benevolent alpha. So you're the alpha. You're going to touch her any way you want within reason, but you're doing it for her. It's like did we mention hair, by the way?
No, we didn't.
Like hair can be a big one where, you sort of move her hair and tuck it around her ear, and it just feels like she's being cared for, but it's that ownership, as you said as well. So it's like, I'm going to move your hair just around your ear there, because that's what needs doing,
Yeah.
But I enjoy it as well,
And what do you think about more aggressive touch and play? And so something I will do to reveal all the things I do, but maybe running your hair off the back of her neck into her hair and giving a little light squeeze / tug and then walking away.
Yeah. Love it. And then I go to the other end of the scale and just start really light. You could do like the hand test, give her a high five and see if she just wants to come down and clasp your hand. That's a great way to initiate without initiating. It's like, does she feel comfortable enough with me at the moment? Because as I say, it's being able to have sex is arousal plus comfort. Mm-hmm. So have you got the comfort in place first? Does she feel comfortable holding hands? And then the arousal bit is the one you mentioned. So that's like a dominant, I call it a dominance move. That's a dominance move you mentioned. Another one would be like, tell her to stand up. You're sitting, you could do this even in public, or you're sitting on the settee watching TV or whatever. You just say, stand up for me a sec, babe. She stands up. You just smack her on the ass and say, sit down. It's a dominance move,
Yeah. I haven't done that one yet. I'm gonna have to give that one a try.
That's a good one. So yeah, and you can go obviously really playful. You can go play fighting. Play fighting is a great way of, I've definitely had, my ex-girlfriend loved play fighting. So yeah, I think, does that cover it for physical?
I think that's a good basis. I know you have a lot more that we could dive into here, but I think this gives the guys a basis of what you want to do when you're, as you said, initiating without initiating. It's really doing this, but also doing it with some frequency, right? It's not just a one-off. I do this on Wednesday and hope for the best. It's something you want to do periodically as part of just who you are, as you said, the benevolent alpha.
Yeah. The one thing I would add in is don't follow the bases. So see, if she's expecting you to go to first base, whatever first base is, like you've probably got a routine you use for seducing her. And if it's not working, then you probably got like first base, second. All right, okay, he's on first base and now he's on second base. I know exactly what he's going to do next, So just see if you can miss out the bases and just jump to fourth base, but then come back to first base maybe, or then just pull away completely, like you said.
Always keep her guessing.
Don't follow the bases.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, so we got physical down, but we also want to talk about verbal. What can we do to initiate without initiating verbally?
So compliments, I think, are a big one. Mm-hmm. So, as any good woman's magazine will tell you, be specific with your compliments. I would break it down into 3 areas. So it's start with character. Okay, because we're talking about getting her into feeling your appreciation, feeling your feeling connected with you. So start off with a character, but make sure it's character which gets her into her feminine. So don't tell her, like, other people might be telling her, you're a strong, independent woman, and I love that about you. It's like, fuck off. You don't love that about her. Maybe you do. But I mean, what I'm saying is that you could very well, she may have a masculine sort of role in her job, and she may be conquering the world and all sorts. But when you want to seduce her, you want to get her into a different state, So compliment her femininity, compliment how nurturing she is.
Yeah.
Compliment what a good listener she is, or how soft she is, So she could still have all these other traits, but you're going to focus on the feminine traits.
Yep. And so guys, if I can add on here, Franco. So something that I might do here for you guys with kids is I will use the kids as an introduction to this compliment. So I might say something like to my wife, like, I love how you play with the kids. Your fun-loving nature is one of the reasons I married you. It always attracted me to you.
Perfect.
Further encouraging that fun-loving nature, which can come out in so many different ways.
Yeah, perfect. Love it. So then the next one would be fashion. And I love this one because it's a great indirect way of getting sensual. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can talk about her style, you can talk about her fashion, you can compliment her on what she's wearing, but tell her why. Okay, and you can even talking about the ownership side of it, getting her into your frame, into your world. You can start to tell her what you like, and maybe, let's say her hair is down to her shoulders. Oh, I really think your hair should be a little bit longer, Or, I love that dress because it shows off your hips. Or I love that because I love when your hair's up because it shows off your neck, And she can, and especially if it's genuine, it's very important to be genuine with it. So really focus on when you see her in front of you. It's like, how does she make me feel? What do I like about this? And I just call it out.
Yeah. And I'll add something in here, guys. What's key here. So for example, if you've probably been with your wife for a while or what have you, don't compliment the same thing over and over again. And don't compliment the obvious. So if your wife has large breasts, don't keep complimenting her on that, because every guy in her life has always told her she has big boobs. But find something else about her that's unusual, but also, as to Franco's point, that's authentic to you. Could be the softness of her skin, the feel, and you can roll this into what you said, Franco, is also a compliment, right? So you could talk about her fashion, and also compliment her. So I'm going to make it up on the spot. Franco, please tell me if I'm getting this wrong, because I don't use the fashion compliments very often, which I'm not a very fashion forward guy. But you might say something along the lines of, wow, that dress really highlights your legs, and you've always had, I've always loved how you take care of your body and your legs by, exercising and what have you. Come with something better than that, guys, but that's the general rule.
Yeah. And that's the perfect one. Cause again, it's kind of neutral. You can take it into a sexual realm if she wants to go there, but also it's still a genuine compliment. It's like you do have great legs, and that dress does highlight that, What I love about, sorry, what were you going to say?
Most people can't see us, but we're on video for those who are just listening to this podcast, which always makes it interesting. Well, one of the things I was going to say here is, as men, a lot of times we forget, no matter how beautiful our wife is, she could be a 10 out of 10, right? Society and everything else her entire life has been telling her she's ugly. Right. So by using these compliments, making her feel sexy, fit, or whatever the things that Franco is saying, this is going to allow her to relax. And sometimes women aren't going to have sex, or at least they're not going to initiate sex, because they don't feel sexy. And part of that sexiness is women's magazines, as you said, Franco, TV, and all the airbrushing and all the model. Like, they set an unrealistic expectation. So when your wife is by herself looking in the mirror, she's thinking, geez, why would he want to have sex with me? I need to lose 5 pounds first, or whatever it may be.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Yeah. And it's the same with what I love about the fashion one as well, because if she really feels that he loves it when I wear this dress, or he loves it when I wear these jeans, she can get excited then, and she links those excited feelings or those good feelings with you.
Yes.
You know, and you can even progress this to really kinky stuff, because all of a sudden then it becomes like a fashion parade. It's like, oh, show me this, or show me, we had one of the guys in the Brotherhood, and his wife was going off and buying bikinis and going off and buying underwear and whatever, and she couldn't wait to try it on. And she's like parading up and down, and and he's just laying back and going, yeah, I tell you why I like this one. But then it just, how can you not escalate from that? It's like,
yeah. Well, you got to imagine where these guys start, right? These guys go from a sexless marriage to, next thing you know, their wife's parading around, giving them a fashion show and a lot more, as he, would describe, which is amazing.
Yeah. So I think that covers it for the verbal, apart from, body. We talked about the body. You talked about compliment certain body parts and how they look in the dress. So we covered that. And then I would say, I don't know if you've ever played this, but questions game, So let's say we call him Dave. His name wasn't Dave, but the guy who had that amazing letter, that email we had of his wife.
Yep.
After the alpha reset. And when guys have a breakthrough like that, it's just, we were all in tears, weren't we?
Yeah.
And one of the things that stood out for me was when she said, I'm discovering parts of this man that I didn't know were there.
Yep.
So
just real quick, Frank, I want you to continue. I want to give the listeners, because they may not know what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
In context is, so one of the men that went through the activation method, then went on to our 1-year mastermind program called the Brotherhood. He also went to Wales, which I was at there co-leading it, and went through our program called the Alpha Reset. And he came back, and his wife was so amazed at the transformation that she took the time to write an email to the whole team as a thank you email. And it was a long, and it's in the Facebook group. We've taken out everybody's names but we wanted to show the guys. So what Franco was talking about is this woman was just amazed, so amazed at the transformation her husband had made over this journey that she had to tell us. So please continue.
Yeah. And it was unsolicited. She just took it off her own back. So that's what really caught my attention, was she was like, I'm learning about this guy that I've been married to. I don't know how long they've been married, but I'm assuming it's like around about a decade at least. So, so you can use questions to get to know each other and ask each other things. And you can take it in any direction. You can talk about childhood. You can talk about work. You can talk about dreams. And you can talk about sex. But again, you can talk about it in a very indirect way to start off with,
Yeah. The key here is to be playful, right? I think a lot of us guys, I've been guilty of this in the past, Franco, of doing the question thing, but also being very almost too serious about it, where it hasn't been playful. And so you're having a conversation about sex, and it's kind of just really not vanilla, but boring almost, because you've taken too much of an analytical approach to the situation.
Yeah. It's like getting down into measurements and angles, and it's like we can't help it, we men. But no, and also we goal orientated, aren't we? So we're like, hang on, I thought we were talking about this, and she's off on another tangent.
Yep.
And it's just remembering to go with her sometimes, because the connection is where it's at,
Exactly. It's like a dance, right? You're dancing together. And if she decides to do another funky dance move in the conversation, just roll with it and have fun.
Exactly. And then banter, I think the last bit with verbal stuff is flirt, sort of make fun of her and, be silly and be larger than life. And that's one of the best ways to escalate as well.
Absolutely. And I think, guys listening to this, there's a couple of things. One, a question we gotten in the Brotherhood in the past, guys are like, okay, what resources can I do for questions? And guys, there are things like I use table topics at our house, which is essentially something you can put on a table, right? We have a bunch of them. There's ones for families, but there's also ones for couples. And there's cards in there that have a question, and they're thought-provoking questions. There's also books of questions you can get. There's a book of questions of love and sex that I have had for, since college. But you can roll through that, and that can spark some interesting conversations going through there.
Do you want me to give a couple of examples?
Yeah, go for it.
Like, I mean, you could start off with, what's your favorite childhood memory? I mean, you may already know that, but it's something along those lines of like, what was the most amazing thing that's happened to you in your childhood? So then she's like getting into happy memories. She's getting into good feelings, and then you could talk about the future. So you could say, what would be something that would be amazing that could happen to you in the next week? That's like unlikely, but it's within the realms of possibility, So then she's like getting excited about the future, and you could even talk about, so it's from a sexual thing, you can even ask her about the body. What's your favorite part of your body?
That's a great one.
Yeah, and I was like, do you want to know what mine is? What favorite part of your body for me? And talking to her about her body in that way, and having the attention on her is just golden, because she's getting all. It's like the fashion parade. The reason why it works, she's getting all the attention, right? She's getting that, because attention for women is like porn to us. It's like, oh, she's getting off on the attention, But obviously we're getting the benefits of focusing on her body, because what a great topic for us as well. So it's like win-win,
Yep. And a great excuse to touch the area you're talking about, right? So if you say, oh, your legs are my favorite, you can reach over and touch her legs as you're talking about them. And it gives you kind of an excuse to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just trying to preempt questions and concerns from the men. Probably shit test is the big one.
Oh yeah.
It's like, she's going to say, oh, you're a pervert, or what did one guy say? His wife said he's a predator. No, what was it? She said he was something like that. And I was just like, make it larger than life, just agree and amplify.
Yep. And engaged in difference, right? If you're different in the outcome, you take automatically the frame, or you own the situation when you stop caring about what she's going to say and just laugh about it like it's a big joke.
Exactly. Yeah. Agree and amplify, or just be like totally amused by it,
Yep. That's my favorite one, is just be amused by the whole situation and laughing.
Yeah.
Because either way you come out ahead, you're enjoying the time, and, she's wondering like, what the heck? Why is this guy like this? Which I always love.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And so Franco, so guys, I can see guys going, okay, I want to try this. We've been in a dry spell for a year. We've had guys come through the program that have broken 6-year dry spells, no sex for that long. So this guy listening to this right now has been in a dry spell, let's say 6 months to a year, and he hasn't done any initiating. What are 2 things he can do today?
To, number 1, focus on how he can get intimate without being sexual. So whether it's on the verbal side, whether it's on the physical side, have that mindset of, you are the benevolent alpha. You're going to do it anyway. And even if she didn't like it or whatever, you're doing it with the best of intentions. Okay. That'd be the first one. And second one would be, just have fun with it. You're doing it for yourself and for her. So find ways that meet her needs and your needs. Like I mentioned with the fashion parade, and talking about her body, and just like find that meeting point in the middle where you're both going to have fun. You're both going to be like, oh, this is good.
Love it. And that's a big thing that comes out of the Alpha Reset for men that are in the Brotherhood or the Inner Circle programs we have, is guys just like, I haven't had fun in a long time. I don't even know how to do that. And they find themselves. When you find yourselves, you're so grounded that it just becomes natural. It's fun and easy, and it just flows through you.
Yeah, I agree. And I went through that period when I was so caught up in business, I became very serious, and you do lose that. And when you get back into that state, the ideas just flow.
They do.
There's no doubt about it. When you're fully activated as a man again, it's like, yeah, of course. I mean, it's like being a kid on the playground. The creativity is just flowing back.
Absolutely. Well, we both know I'm a big kid, so that's not a problem for me. Well, guys, Franco, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to be here and to share
Pleasure.
your wisdom and knowledge. Guys, if you like this kind of conversation, head over to the Facebook group. If you're a business owner, right now it's restricted to business owners only, guys. But if you are a business owner and you want to be involved in this level of conversation, we have a free community, guys. We're not asking for anything from you. Just head over there. The only thing I will ask, though, if you do join the community, is to participate in the conversations. Don't be a voyeur, right? Step out of the shadows and participate. You got amazing men like Franco here who are always in there sharing their wisdom and knowledge to make your lives better. So gentlemen, get over there and make sure you post an introduction. Let Franco know who you are, and I'd love to see you over there as well. Guys, as always, take some action. That's a wrap for us, and that's another episode of the Powerful Man Show in the bag. Thank you again, Franco.
Thanks, Doug.